We're joined by NYU history professor Ruth Ben-Ghiat, an expert on authoritarianism, the author of Strongmen Mussolini to the Present. Welcome, Ruth. This is one of those Fridays where you have all the conflicting signals, and we went through a lot of them to the top of the show. The pretty remarkable coalition against Trump's power grab at the Supreme Court, ruling again late today, but against a lot of these other moves. Your thoughts here? And what he's trying to do or get away with.
So it's pretty remarkable that the same court that gave him immunity for official acts is now pushing back. And I think, there is no parallel, Ari, for in early Putin or early Erdogan or early months of Orban for the speed and magnitude of what has happened to our democracy in just a few months. And, the essence of authoritarianism is the executive trying to expand his power over the civil service, making it a tool of tool of his personal will because it's all loyalists. Of course, the judiciary is key, and also creating a personality cult. And Donald Trump is very attentive to imagery. And so having his face, next to Lincoln's on the outside of buildings and giant format is certainly part of that, as is him trying to say that he's all powerful and really no one can stop him. And I think they're escalating this because of the legal resistance that's come on. And the reason, when you were talking about Abrego Garcia before, the reason he says, I could get him back, but I won't, is that if he said, okay, I could get him back and I will get him back, that would be seeming to bend to request that he be accountable. And his whole thing as a strongman is that he's above the law, that he's untouchable and he doesn't have to respect domestic or international law because that's a sign of weakness in the autocratic mind.
And then you look at the way they pick their targets. He's talked about a lot of different perceived foes, but it's very notable now as we track 110 days, he's starting with what they perceive to be the weaker, softer targets in a lot of the retribution. Local officials or judges who people haven't really heard of. So they don't necessarily have an idea that, maybe not all Americans know of and love Jack Smith, but his history, having prosecuted members of both parties, prosecuting John Edwards, a Democrat for corruption, prosecuting war crimes at The Hague. There's a lot of evidence that he would be a tougher, sturdier foe with a lot of credentials, a lot of elite type powerful people going, that guy. But they go after the state judge. They go after a local mayor now. That trial continues. There were rumors about something else today, which is a news person I'm not going to confirm, but they involved questions about DOJ going after another person. And then, of course, Comey, which is reportable because they're announcing it. And as I said, the seashells photo would be laughable if the agenda weren't so anti-dissent and anti-democratic. So talk us through what's going on there. It's not necessarily day one, the doomsday of every prosecutor who's ever investigated him is immediately indicted like a movie. But it seems to be trying to push up and normalize the idea that this is what a government can do, that yes. James Comey will face whatever it is, his third probe.
Yeah, the Comey is very disturbing because in Turkey, for example, Erdogan has put forth hundreds of thousands of, they're called insult suits. It's like a genre of lawfare, autocratic lawfare. And a social media post, just observing something and recording it, as Comey did, can be grounds for, in Turkey, being imprisoned and put on trial. And again, 160,000 Turks have been subjected to this. And there are similar things that go on in Russia and all autocracies. So your other point about having lower level judges people are not familiar with, they haven't bonded with them. This is what autocrats do. They do test cases. They do test cases to see how the public responds, but also to show, as you said, that they can get anyone. So, in fact, it's huge news that was not perhaps with all the other things going on. One of the hallmarks of authoritarianism is you start arresting the political opposition. And so the mayor of Newark was arrested on some kind of trumped up case, as it seems. And so this is, for me, looking at this was a red line that they crossed. And, you know, as far as the Wisconsin judge, you know, during the whole Biden administration years, the Trump and MAGA waged a very effective campaign to discredit and delegitimize the judiciary, understood democratically. And so they were insulting judges, threatening judges. And so this is an escalation of that to show that anybody in any state who displeases the administration can become a target. And that's exactly how authoritarian states operate.